We as women sometimes struggle so much with making decisions. Like, I'll be looking at like my boyfriend or my brother or my dad, and they just make decisions so fast and they just like go through with it and deal with it. And sometimes I'm just like, okay, but what about like this and that and this and that? And I need to think about this and these things. And like, you're thinking about all these other things. And I'm sure you resonate with that, right? Like, you have to make a decision about something. And sometimes it's not even like anything big. It's like, what do you want for dinner? And it's just like, oh, I don't know. Don't ask me to make that decision, right? Or like, what ice cream flavor do you want? Oh, no, I don't know. Don't ask me to make that decision. And something I find with all of the women that I work with is this issue that comes up in terms of how to actually make decisions. Now, the tips that I'm going to share in this video are going to help you make better decisions for yourself, but ultimately, not being able to make confident decisions, it really stems from something deeper. So although I'm going to share tips in this video, these tips aren't going to fully help you make confident decisions until you actually get to the root of what's happening. And the root always comes back to limiting beliefs. The root always comes back to your self-worth, what you believe you deserve to be at, what you believe you deserve to have in your life. And ultimately, if these things at the core aren't addressed, it's really hard to consistently make confident decisions on a daily basis. Not to say the tips in this video won't help, okay? Before you're just like, ugh, okay, why am I watching this? No, watch it till the end because I got some really good tips for you because I know you are struggling with making decisions. So I got some really good tips to share with you. If you are new to this channel, my name is Dr. Bisley Natalie. I'm also known as the Holistic Brain Doctor, and I am a cognitive behavioral therapy certified naturopathic doctor, and I help women heal their brain so they can elevate their self-worth and step into their peak potential. Nothing lights me more on fire than seeing amazing women step into who they were truly meant to be. So when it comes to making decisions, the first thing that I just want to share with you is that you can't make a wrong decision. Like, you literally cannot make a wrong decision. Let that sink in for a second, because you're just like, what do you mean? And you might be like, hang on, I've made wrong decisions in the past before, right? Here's the thing, and this is already the mindset that I want you to embody when it comes to making confident decisions like a confident woman, is that you can't make a wrong decision because, okay, when we make decisions, right, you essentially have two directions you can head into. One, you make the right decision for yourself, which is like, whoop, yay, amazing, cool, right? Or number two, you make the not so right decision. But here's the thing. Even if you go down that second path where you don't end up making the best decision for yourself, at the end of the day, that decision somehow can still end up being the right decision for you. And that reframe when it comes to making decisions is so powerful, because either it's going to be right or it's going to be wrong, and you're going to find a way to make it right. That takes off so much pressure from trying to make the most perfect decision for yourself in that moment. Because the truth is that, girl, even if it's wrong, you'll find a way to make it right. There is always a way to correct and fix things and mistakes and learn from them. And so even though that decision ended up being a mistake, there's some learning to be had. There's some growth to be had. And it becomes a beautiful experience for you to evolve and make better decisions in the future. So already, whenever you are going to make any sort of decision, walk in with that mindset. It takes that pressure off. The decision is going to be right at the end of the day, and that's what matters. And I also just like to see the fact that when I end up making decisions that aren't the best for me, but in the moment they felt like they were the best for me, is that, again, it's learning. I'm such a big believer, not to go down the woo-woo side of things, but hey, I'm a little bit woo-woo, is that, everything in a way happens for a reason, right? And I always say that whenever you end up making a decision that then ends up being not the best decision, there was learning to be had. There was growth to be had, experiences to be had, so you could learn from it and ultimately be better from it at the end of the day. So let that sink in. There is no wrong decision. There's only a right decision, and then there is a learning, okay? A learning that you're going to grow from, you're going to learn from, and ultimately that decision is going to end up being right at the end of the day. The second thing I want to share with you is that if you want to start making more confident decisions in the moment for yourself, you have to make sure that you are not making a decision when your sympathetic nervous system is turned on. Your sympathetic nervous system is your stress system. And when you're in that stress state, you are not thinking clearly and you are not making decisions from the best version of you. You're making decisions from the stressed version of you. And so one of the best things you can do, and this more so applies to, bigger decisions, maybe not so much as, what do you want for dinner type decisions, but with bigger decisions, never act from that sympathetic state. For example, you're at work, maybe you get into a fight with your coworker and all of a sudden you're just like, I'm going to quit my job. Like, I hate this, I'm going to quit my job. And then you go up and you tell your manager, like, I'm quit this job, like, I'm done with this, I'll give you my 2 weeks, and you just like stomp out. And then a couple hours later, when you're feeling more calm, when the parasympathetic nervous system is turned on, you're kind of just like, oh, what did I do? I don't have any job lined up. I need to pay my bills. Like, what did I just do? This is how we end up making decisions that we deeply regret. And again, not to say, right, how I said before, is that every decision you can make right. But if we can find some ways to make just better decisions for ourselves so that we're making less of the wrong ones, it is to make decisions when you're in the parasympathetic nervous system state. So if you are new to your nervous system states, you essentially have two main nervous systems in your body. They are a part of the autonomic nervous system. You have your parasympathetic nervous system, which is your calming system. It's turned on when you feel good, when you feel calm, when you're eating food. And then you have that sympathetic nervous system, which is your stress system. That gets turned on when you feel stressed out. And so when you notice yourself, and I would honestly say, get really clear on what it feels like for you to be in your stress system, and as much as possible, avoid acting out when you're in that state. This is when you send texts you don't want to send. This is when you say things you don't want to say. This is when you turn towards coping strategies that aren't necessarily the best for you because you're acting when you're in that system instead of waiting until your system's in the parasympathetic state. In the parasympathetic state, when you're calm, you can think more clearly, you're much more likely to make better choices and decisions for yourself. So really keep this in mind. Sometimes what I will even do, I'll even say, like, I need to sleep on it. I make decisions faster than I need to. And then I don't always look at all the facts that are necessary and that I should have looked at, which would have helped me make a better decision for myself. And that's another little tip squeezed in right there. Sometimes what makes it difficult for us to make a really confident decision is that we're missing the facts around us. Right? And sometimes we're not able to make a decision because we don't have full clarity on a situation. So when you're stuck in this place where you feel like you can't make the right decision for yourself, ask yourself, what clarity do you need? What is the information that's missing to help you make a confident decision about whatever it is that you are trying to decide in this moment? So another little tip kind of squeezed in right there, but please do not make decisions when you're in that sympathetic state. Sleep on it. Go on a walk. Do some meditation. Have a little dance party in your room and do something that brings you joy. That'll switch that sympathetic state to the parasympathetic state so that you can then make a better decision for yourself. Okay? I wish I knew this like years and years ago because this could have saved me from making so many wrong decisions. And don't get me wrong, I'm not perfect at it. Sometimes I'll still act out when that sympathetic nervous system state is on. It's all a learning, right? But I do it way less now than when I used to in the past. The next tip just really always helps me and prevents me from constantly going like back and forth between decisions, especially after I've made one, is once you make a decision, go all in. Go all in. I constantly have to catch myself because sometimes, I'll make a decision about something new that I want to try in my business or the direction that I want it to go into. And then all of a sudden, like a week later, I'm already doing something different. And I'm like, I need to bring myself back, right? When you're in a decision, go all in. Stick with it. This is just so helpful to prevent that like back and forth inner chatter that happens in your brain. And it happens to all of us, right? You make a decision and you think you're all good because you made a decision. But then, that voice in your head is like, oh, but what about this and that and this and that and this and that and this. And the unfortunate part about this inner chatter that causes you to go back and forth between the decisions, even though they've already made a decision, is that you don't ever get to fully experience the current decision that you've already made, because you're constantly going back and forth, right? So say, for example, maybe you are in a relationship and, you're kind of going back and forth in your head. Is this really the right relationship? Is this not the right relationship? Make a decision. make a decision based on the facts that are present, based on what's in front of you. And then when you make that decision, stick with it. If you want to be like, no, okay, I am going to be with this person, then go all in. Go all in with this person. Go all in until it's literally impossible to go all in. Or if you make the decision that you're no longer going to be with this person, go all in with that, right? How many times after breakups do we constantly go back with our ex, right? We never go all in fully on a decision. So go all in until literally it feels impossible to go all in with that decision, or until the facts present themselves in a different way that then make it, reasonable for you to want to change your decision. But until some, prominent facts come up that show you, oh, I should actually do the other decision, stick with the original decision. This saves just so much stress, heartache, whatever aches you have as a result of that inner chatter in your mind when you make a decision. You have to go all in. You have to. So many of us don't end up going all in because, again, this is where the deeper pieces come out. We're scared of failure. We're scared of being seen. We're scared of being hurt. We're scared of being abandoned. This is when all these fears come out. And this is why I say, right, you think this video is just about helping you make better decisions, but it seems like it's something small, but it's something so big, and it speaks about something that's happening at such a deeper level, right? And it speaks about your inability to believe in yourself, your inability to trust yourself, and know that you can make good decisions for yourself. And this ultimately comes down to self-worth, to what you think of yourself, to what you believe about yourself. And again, if you want support with this, if you want support with elevating your self-worth, if you want support in finally overcoming these fears so that you can build the life that you've always dreamed for yourself, use the link in the bio to book a free brain health assessment with me. Let's chat about what support for you looks like. Because, you can apply these tips, but if you don't get to the root of what's happening, you're always going to struggle with this. And with so many of us on a daily basis, that inner chatter in our brain, it's so stressful, and it's just constantly back and forth, and it just never quiets itself because we've never put into practice and into place what it's like to be a confident woman who makes decisions, to be a high value, high self-worth woman, to heal your brain so that you can fully embody that using a mind-body approach. So very important to keep in mind, right? This is really speaking on a bigger issue that is happening internally. And so to bring it back, make a decision, go all in. See the decision to its full end, to its full extent, so that you can then decide, was this the right decision or should I do something different? And the last thing that I'm going to leave you with, and this has just helped me so much just make better decisions and more confident decisions, is that it's never that serious. It's never that serious. Let that sink in. Say this to yourself. Scream it to the heavens. It's never that serious. It really isn't. It never is. And this is a great tie into the first point that I made, that even if you make the wrong decision, you can make it right. And this all comes back to self-trust, to self-worth, to believing in yourself, and to knowing that you can correct any wrong that you do. You totally can. And so bring it back to, it's never that serious, right? So many, and don't get me wrong, there are some times in life where we do have to make really big decisions, right? Like, sometimes it's a big career move, or sometimes it's like the person we're going to marry, right? So those are really serious. But a lot, like 95% of the decisions that we get so caught up with on a day-to-day basis, it is never that serious. And sometimes when I find myself getting caught up in the day-to-day decisions, right? Even something simple as what should I wear? What should I eat? Things like that. It's like never that serious. What's the first thing that comes to your mind? Pick it, go all in, do it, done. And don't think about it again. Right? And if that voice comes up, that inner chatter that's bringing you back and forth and making you question your decision, quiet it and be like, we're all in. We're all in, so I'm here in this moment right now because I made my decision. I'm no longer going back on it. This is the other thing too, right? Is that when we go back on a decision that we make, you lose integrity. You just made a decision to do something, right? For example, let's go back to that example about you ending a relationship, right? If you make that decision, but then literally a week later, you're talking to your ex, or you're sleeping with your ex again, right? Or you're going on dates and hanging out with your ex. Like, you're losing integrity. You're losing self-trust. You're actually destroying your self-trust like 10 times more when you go back on a decision you made and you didn't go fully all in. You're just showing yourself, oh, look, we make decisions, but we can't trust ourselves to ever stick with them. And you know what that does? That like shoots your self-worth, self-esteem down completely. And it's honestly like a self-sabotage as well. So again, I'm bringing in these other elements that are all playing such a bigger role in your inability to make proper decisions for yourself. But it's never that serious. So bring some lightheartedness and fun into this. I always, with all my patients, whenever I work with them one-on-one, my big thing that I always emphasize is I'm here to help make great brain health be practical, fun, and easy. Because it really can be. And I think when it comes to the mental health world, right, there's so much seriousness attached to it. And I'm not, not saying these illnesses aren't serious, but let's make this be a bit more fun. Let's not take ourselves as seriously as we do, because that on its own is just causing us so much stress on a day-to-day basis. So stop taking yourself so seriously. And if you truly want to get better at making decisions for yourself, practice this. Practice it. I know in the South Asian culture, like growing up, I didn't really get to make a lot of choices for myself, even though I was a complete rebel. And I work with so many South Asian women who also struggle with that issue as well, right? You don't get any independence when you're young, but then you get older and all of a sudden you're required to make all these decisions for yourself, but you've never practiced your decision-making muscle. So for those of you, if any of you have like young kids and you're listening to me, you need to give your kids the opportunity to be independent, right? We want to raise independent, resilient kids and for them to be independent, resilient adults. And in order to do that, they have to practice their decision-making muscle earlier. And so this is exactly what you need to do now. And start with the small things, right? So start with, for example, what do you want to have for dinner? When someone asks you, don't say, I don't know. Tell them, I want Mexican food, so I want a burrito. So let's have a burrito, right? It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Like, it's really what you're going to eat for dinner, not a big deal. So make a decision, stick with it. And so do these small things. So when you wake up in the morning, it's not about choosing between 5 different outfits. What's the first outfit that came into your mind? Cool, done, picked. Okay, or set it out the night before so that you don't make decisions in the day. And a lot of us, we get so exhausted and tired and stressed out by the end of the day because we're just decision fatigue. We're making decisions right, left, and center. We're constantly questioning our decisions right, left, and center. And lo and behold, by the end of the day, we're so exhausted with that back and forth chatter that just keeps happening in our brain over and over and over again. Oh my God, I'm so passionate about this because, as you can tell, I used to struggle with this so much, and I still do, to some extent, struggle with it sometimes, but it's so much better than before. And now I can make confident decisions for myself where I don't constantly have to ask 10 other people, what do you think about this? I remember when I first started posting on Instagram, I used to have to send like 6, 7 different friends a photo and be like, what do you think about this? Like, do you think this is okay or that's okay? Because I was just so insecure and I just felt like I couldn't trust myself to make any decisions. Now I'll post like a picture of myself doing anything, like maybe my only limit is like I won't post a picture of myself sitting on my toilet, but I literally don't even care what it looks like. I'm just like, hey, the message is out there. I hope it gets to someone. I'm just going to post it, and I don't need to ask 10 other people if this is okay because I trust myself, because I have practiced making good decisions for myself, and I practice doing that on a daily basis. So practice this. Practice your decision-making muscle, because the more that you practice it, the better that you get. That's it. I can make these confident decisions for myself as a woman because I've just been practicing it for a while. So this is how you do it. This is how you embody yourself, what feels good to you, and make decisions as a confident woman. And remember, it is never that serious. It's never that serious. You can correct any wrong decision that you make. There is no wrong decision. There's only the right decision and something to learn from. Okay? There's right decision, something to learn from. So take the pressure off of yourself. And as soon as possible, start practicing your decision-making muscle. And if you want support with this, if you want support dealing with those deeper rooted issues, which are definitely playing a role here, like your self-worth, like your self-esteem, you want to heal your brain health so that you can quiet that chatter that constantly goes on in your mind, that stresses you out, that fatigues you by the end of the day, then use the link in the bio to book a free brain health assessment with me. And let's chat about what support looks like for you so that we can get you feeling your best so that we can get you in a place of high self-worth and where you are just radiating your peak potential to the rest of the world.